There we go. Thank you very much, teacher Hadish. And then also we're going to show you what exams you need to be booking as well, because there are actually 2 exams you can book for every subject. Now we'll explain that in more detail shortly. And yeah, that's what I'm going to say on that, because I could get sidetracked. So first things first, I just want to confirm that we follow the Cambridge curriculum, okay, which means you should be looking at booking the Cambridge International GCSEs or IGCSEs, okay. IGCSEs and GCSEs are exactly the same. They are weighted the same, and they are recognized by all colleges and all universities and all apprenticeships and anything that you may be moving into. IGCSE, GCSEs are exactly the same. The I simply stands for international, meaning that test can be taken anywhere around the world. Oh, now the GCSE and the IGCSE, okay, the exams will look very, very similar to each other. In some cases, they will be a mirror image of each other. The only differences you may see is certain types of spelling due to the international area you might be in. You might see the American spelling more often, and also sort of the units that are used. So, for example, in most of the GCSEs, you would expect to see the pound sign, whereas in the IGCSE, you may see the euro or the dollar or something like that. The actual content is exactly the same. So when we speak today, we are speaking specifically about the IGCSE, but once again, it is exactly the same as the GCSE that you would expect to see in any UK school or any English school, I should say. So the Cambridge website is fantastic. That's the first thing I will say on the Cambridge board. They have everything you could possibly need on there. That doesn't mean you can't ask us for questions. We're always happy to help. But the majority of the information is on there, and it's very, very nicely laid out. For example, they have all the phases you'll need to go through, including the exam day and getting your results. Okay, so it's a very, very simple thing. Go to the link at the top there. Like I say, this presentation will be sent out, so you'll have access to this, and they actually take you step by step through everything. They're also a really, really good exam board to actually get hold of. Okay, there's some exam boards we were thinking of going with as a school, and they were more difficult to contact. Cambridge are very, very good if you want to contact them directly. So I would recommend going to there, and especially getting your children to look through each of those phases, especially the exam day. Okay, that's key that they look through that. We are going to tell you majority of stuff you need, but it's also there on the website as well if needed. So, whoops, I've just gone back. So we're now going to talk about how you find your exam center. Now, hopefully you all know where your nearest exam center is. If you don't even, do not panic, okay? Simply go to this website here. Again, it is through the Cambridge website. And again, their website is very, very easy to navigate and very, very useful, okay? This link will be part of the presentation once again. So if you go to this page, you will find this. You will notice there is a warning about the 2022 exams. Don't let that put you off. You are on the right page. It's just simply telling you a few things about COVID, most of which is not still in place. All you need to do is select a location, okay, at the bottom, and also select which town you're in. So, for example, if you live in Thailand and you live in Phuket, you would select Thailand and then Phuket. If you live in Scotland and Aberdeen, you would look to select that. You may well see that your city doesn't appear on there. Pick the closest city to you, okay? And it will give you a list of all your exam centers. And that's the first thing you need to be doing if you have not already done that. Once you have found the exam center, you need to find one that accepts private candidates. So as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, you have private candidates accepted. If it says no, that is not a good one for you to start contacting, because they will not let you sit your exam there. The ones that says yes are the ones you want to be reaching out, and those are the ones that you're going to be wanting to put in your applications when you apply for your exams. Now, the exams are not yet ready to be applied for. That opens in November, okay? But you can get hold of your exam centers now and just check there's nothing additional you may need to do. Okay, not many ask you to go down in person beforehand. Not many ask to see any sort of proof of ID or anything. Some may well do that. So even though you can't book your exams now, I strongly recommend, if you have not yet already done, find your exam center and get in contact with them. Now, is there any questions regarding the exam centre before I move on? No, fantastic, excellent. If you do ever have any issues contacting exam centre and it says yes, but they're saying you can't go there, reach out to Cambridge. Again, they are very, very good. Now, as mentioned, there are 2 types of GCSE for every subject you're going to see today. Okay, you can choose to take an exam that will give you a score of A* to G, or you can choose to take an exam that gives you a grade of 9 to 1. Both exams are exactly the same. There is no difference. The only difference will come when you get the results and whether you want your results as an A to G or a 9 to 1. Again, all colleges, universities, apprenticeships, or whatever it is you may well go on to will accept both. So this is purely a preference on how you wish to get your results. Once again, you will see 2 exams for every subject, and they both will have different codes, but they are exactly the same exams. Okay, it's just a personal preference. I can't stress that enough, and every single teacher is going to repeat that when their subject comes up. Okay, just so that you're not overwhelmed when you look and you're like, which one is it I have to take? Find the code, and it's your personal preference. So let's start off with maths. Okay, the 2 exams you can do is either 0980 or 0580. Whether you want 9 to 1, you do 0980. If you wanted just A* grade, you want 0580. Both exams, once again, are exactly the same. Okay, but it's either one of those which we have been following that curriculum, so it's that exam you'll want to sit. Okay, why did that not change? So as a mathematical student, there's only 2 subjects where you can pick to do either extended or core. It's maths and science, and the science we'll talk through that shortly. Now, the core paper is you can get a maximum grade of a 5. Okay, it's a maximum grade of a 5. If you are looking to get a grade 6 or above, you also want to be doing the extended. Now, you don't have to apply for 2. You don't apply for core and extended. You simply apply for core or extended, and then their extended will put in, make sure they do the make sure you do the correct exam paper to get that higher grade. Okay, so you'll notice there's different papers there and additional papers. That's not overly important right now. You need to be having a conversation with your child about whether they think their target grade is a 4 or a 5, which hopefully they should be able to get that information from their teacher, or whether they want to push on and try and get a 6 or above, or sorry, a C or above if you're doing the A* to G. Okay, so those types of conversations should be happening now in the household about whether they want to do the core exam or the extended exam. Now, regardless which exam they pick, they will need, okay, a calculator. And the exam is based around these specific calculators, okay? The Casio FX series. The 2 you are seeing, they come in different colors, but those are the only 2 you should be looking to buy for the exam. There are cheaper alternatives out there, but don't go for them. Teacher Kate, is there anything you want to add regarding the calculators before I move on to the revision section?
If your child does not already have a calculator, get them as soon as possible. They need to be very, very familiar with their calculators.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to stop here and I'm going to hand over to your actual Year 11 maths teacher, and she's going to talk you through the revision and stuff to look out for, especially what's in each paper as well. So, Teacher Kate, over to you.
Right. So, as you can see there, you've got your core ones, which are paper 1 and 3. The weighting is on paper 1, 35% for both of them, for 1 and 2, so the core and the extended. So they're much more shorter questions and hopefully easier to answer. All questions on the GCSE maths are calculator questions. So then you've got paper 3, which is core, which again is 65% of the marks, much more structured questions. So as you can see at the bottom, it's the core paper is 30 to 35% of number. So that is your 4 rules, fractions, decimals, percentages, ratio, things like that. So it's much more weighted towards maths that you will use in everyday life. Then you've got about 20 to 25% of algebra, shape and space, and then probability and statistics. So there's much more weighting on the extended, on the algebra. And it's a slightly longer exam for both of them. But I think most of the students and I have had conversations, but are welcome to ask me again which one I think they should go for. Because some people get on with maths, some people don't. So yeah. Yeah, and then if you wish to do your own revision, there's lots of different sites out there. There's On Maths, Corbett Maths, Maths Genie. Find one that you can get along with, or that your child can get along with and can understand. Watch the videos, use Century, ask me. We're going to start doing the mocks fairly soon, and then you can start asking me all the questions. But I go back to know your calculator really well and study hard.
Right, thank you very much, Teacher Kate. So there's no questions for mathematics. We're going to move straight on to science. Teacher Rosie.
Hello. Sorry, I thought I assumed we were doing English next. So I'm completely taken by surprise as usual. Many of your students will know I always say one day I'll be organised, but today is not that day. Again, we have for the coordinated sciences, one of the big things to note with the Cambridge assessment is that all three subjects are in both papers. Can we have the next slide on? Brilliant, thank you. You want to take paper 1 and paper 1 or 2, and then paper 3 or 4. It's 1 and 3 or 2 and 4. You will need to take paper 6 as the alternative to practical. You do not want paper 5. Please don't go for paper 5. You cannot do it. So paper 6, the alternative to practical. You will need a calculator in it. You can just use the same one as you use for maths. There's certainly no need to buy a separate calculator. Make sure you take a calculator in for it. It's just important. Just because particularly for biology, well, actually, I don't know, I'm saying particularly for biology because actually it's physics that has a lot of, as Teacher Kate knows, it's physics that has a lot of the calculations, but things like biology also have calculations to do. I wrote down a heap of notes, and I actually think I've said those. It should be noted that 0654, which is the A to C grade, can be done in anywhere. But the 0973 can only be taken in some places, but most places. Just check. It doesn't matter which one you take; it'll come out the same. But just make sure that you don't panic on that one. As far as a revision and things go, I've gone to great trouble on the classroom to really set up, certainly for the biology and the chemistry, to really set up revision topics for the students at the top of the Google Classroom, and particularly as well things like Century. I've set up all the relevant nuggets so they can see where they can go. My son is currently going for his physics in about a month's time, and I've had him working his way through Century, and his grades are just going up and up and up. So I would really recommend Century as a revision source. Cognito and Fuse School are also very useful. The students know how much I like the Amoeba Sisters for biology, but and obviously any these workbooks are quite useful. This is the actual course book, but you shouldn't really need it. The workbooks would be quite useful. Yes, just make sure you use that Google Classrooms. I think is my big one for revision. I've set it up really well, hopefully, for you. I'm going to pass to Teacher Kate now for anything physics related, because I'm biology and chemistry.
No, I've nothing to add because they are all in the same exams. So no, everything she said, but yes, make sure you take your calculators.
Ira.
Hello, yes, I have a question regarding to the number 6 for the exam for alternative to practical. What does that entail? Do they answer questions practical based, or is it something different?
Yeah, so it's basically the exam is based around the practicals, based around the things that you would need to know. We'll be going over this with the students, you know, in the classes, so don't worry too much about that. But it's basically to show that they know the practical skills that they need.
Lovely. And also about the exam, when they sit the exam, is it like for paper 2, would it be some questions would be chemistry, some biology, and some physics?
Yes, it's split 3 ways. It's split equally for each paper. It's split equally, you know, a third biology, a third chemistry, a third physics. Sorry, Teacher Kate, I forgot your subject then for a minute. But yes, it's equally split a third. In the multiple choice, it's very clearly split with, you know, they have it's the biology first, then the chemistry, then the physics. But the other papers, they can be a bit more mixed up. But it's all in the paper.
All in the paper.
And we'll be going over
when they sit the exam, for example, if they do good in biology and chemistry but not too good in physics, how would they take the average out of the 3 subjects and give a mark? Yeah.
Yes. So it's an average, and it's a double grade for it too. So you don't just get 1 grade. You get 2 6s, or sometimes it can be. Actually, I just need to check that with Cambridge. But sometimes it could be a 6 and a 5. You can get 2, but they don't grade them separately. It's 1 grade, or 2 grades for the whole thing, but it's not done separately at all. It's all in together.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Teacher Rose, Teacher Kate. Over to English with Teacher Eilish.
Hello. So 9 to 1, you want to apply for the 0990. If you're looking for the A star to G, it's the 0500, which is the code that we use on all of our work at the moment. Everybody sits paper 1 and paper 2. Both paper 1 and paper 2 evaluate, assess reading and writing skills. Next slide, Danny. Everything that you need is on Google Classroom. The most important thing your child can do is to read daily for a minimum of 20 minutes. If you're interested in purchasing additional or supplemental materials, you are, of course, welcome to buy these Cambridge materials. Of course, we have Century as well, which some love and some tolerate. But everything that they need is on Classroom. Questions? Hello. Hello, Marie.
Oh, hi. It took me a while to figure out to put the microphone on.
That's okay.
I don't have my camera on because I've got the phone directly to my ear because it's very low for me. Are we going to be sent in an email the books that would help them with studying? Like an email list?
So this presentation will be sent out to everyone so you can have access to all of it.
Okay, but it's not going to be written down, no?
If you could just be a little bit more specific about what it is that you're looking for, then I can prepare.
You know, you're just mentioning books that could help. Are those going to be written and listed? It's only because, as I said, like, for instance, now as I'm trying to hear is very low and I've got it by my ear. I'm trying to hear what you're saying, but the books that he needs that I need to go out and buy, will those be listed in an email or something that I can just read and go out and get them myself?
Yeah, of course. So the 2 first language skills books that are shown on the presentation that Danny is showing now, they're quite useful. But anything that your child needs in terms of reading, in terms of preparation, is on Google Classroom.
Right, Google Classroom, right, okay.
Yeah, freely available on Google Classroom, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, and then literature, same deal. We've got 0992 for the 9 to 1, 0475 for the A star to G. You all know that I call it the 0475 for our coding. Paper 1 is the poetry, the group of 15 poems plus Purple Hibiscus, which we're studying at the moment. And then we have paper 2, which is the drama paper, 2 drama texts. So Othello and Crumbs from the Table of Joy. All of the texts that you need, if your child is studying literature, they are readily available on e-platform. They are available on Google Classroom. And I know that everyone who's studying literature has purchased hard copies of everything apart from the poetry as well. That's okay, Danny? Next one.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, the revision page. Sorry.
And again, everything that's needed is on Google Classroom, including the revision. And there are some suggestions of literature texts here. But I'm confident that the students, Bobby, for example, know where to find revision materials or summaries and things to support themselves.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And just to confirm, I say this will all be sent out to you also. Every link, every listed book, and everything, you will all get a copy of this, so you'll be able to see it. Computer science teacher Nick.
Hi. So yep, there's again 2 different ones you can choose. The 0984 is the 9 to 1 grades, and the 0478 is the A star to G. So it's up to you. Like Danny said at the start, exactly the same, just different grading. You can go on to the next slide, please. Thank you. So all it is 2 different papers, both worth exactly the same, so half and half. So paper 1 is 50%. It's mainly short answer questions, as it says there, short answer and structured questions. The second paper is kind of split in 2, really, and half of that is a project, and we're using Python, and the other part is talking about that project. So it's still worth half, but then it's split again into half. So they're the 2 papers you'll be doing. And as for revision, there's a few websites there. There are thousands upon thousands of websites. So there's some great ones here, and as new ones come up, which they always do, I will let the students know too. There's a lot of rubbish ones out there, but there's also a lot of good ones. So I will sift through it to find the best ones to share with the students, of course.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And then we'll move on to business studies, history, and geography. Now, this is teacher Mark's key area, but unfortunately, he just isn't able to get on. He has messaged me, and I've asked if there's any sort of key information that you should know about what could make these exams slightly different. And he has said these exams are very, very straightforward. You turn up, you'll have questions on the subject area, and then you answer the questions on them. Okay, so there's nothing too strange or wonderful regarding business studies, history, or geography. So what I'll do, I'll just go through the codes, which you can see there, 0986 or 0450. Once again, no difference between these exams. They are split down into 2 papers, very similar to computer science. They are both worth 50% each, and they are out of 80. So as you can see with paper 1, it is more about short answers and data response. That is 50% of the exam. Okay, and then you'll have 4 questions, which is a mixture, again, you can read there, of short answers, and then there's the rest. And then paper 2 is a more written, more wordy, well, not wordy, how should I say that? I've gone blank on that. It is be more longer answers, sorry. Okay, and it will be based on the case study that they will know beforehand going in. So it'll be a case study that teacher Mark would have gone through with them beforehand, and then they'll answer the questions based on that. And for revision, there is Flip Academy. Now, Flip Academy is teacher Mark's own creation, along with a team of people. So the work on there is actually very, very specific and would be very good for your children to use. It's completely free to sign up, and a lot of the resources on there teacher Mark has made himself. And like I just said, they are very, very closely linked to what's been studied in class. So that'd be something really useful for your children to sign up to even. And then obviously there's the website there as well, which would be very useful. The Cambridge website, I can't push that enough. It is a very, very good website. And obviously teacher Mark thinks it's good for business studies as well. Similar story for history. Your two codes are 0977 or 0470. Don't need to say it, do I? But I will. They are exactly the same exams. This is split down into 3 papers, but notice the third paper is actually paper 4. And this is because as an online school, we do not do coursework. So instead, you'll do additional exam paper, weighted for 27% of the overall exam. This, again, will be based around a case study, similar to what business study was. But again, Teacher Mark will go through that nearer the time. The information isn't released until nearer the exam. And then the other 2 papers are standard written papers full of questions that they will then need to answer regarding what they've studied in class. So you'll see it's splitting down into 2 sections, paper 1, and then paper 2 is a bit more free-flowing, but longer questions as well. The 40%, 33%, and 20% is simply how much it's worth towards the full grade. And both the first two papers are 2 hours long, and then paper 4, the alternative to coursework, is 1 hour. It's stuff like that you need to be making sure you take note of. The fact that you're not doing paper 3, similar to what was said for English, there's certain papers you have to take. Paper 4 is the one you need to be making sure you're registering. So, like I said, if you were writing stuff down, this is this type of thing you want to be writing down. That is actually paper 4 you need to be taking and not paper 3. Once again, Teacher Mark is pointing you towards Flip Academy. I've already explained what that is, so I won't say it again. And then schoolhistory.co.uk is also a fantastic website as well. And then we have Geography, 0976 and 0460. Same exams, depends how you want your results. And again, there is that paper 4 for Geography as well. We do not do Geography coursework, so you will do a paper 4 based on a case study as well. Once again, take note of that if you're doing Geography, that you will need to do paper 4, not paper 3. And last one for Teacher Mark, pointing you to Flip Academy again. Just going to say it once more, this is a platform created by Teacher Mark and a team of people. It is a fantastic website, so do push your students towards that for their revision. Like I say, he created it himself, so it relates very heavily to what he's been covering, so it'll be a very, very useful website. Any question on any of the humanities now? I know I've whizzed through it really quickly, but unfortunately, we just can't get Teacher Mark on the line. Any questions? No, fantastic. Teacher Kirsty.
Hi, so we've got the 2 codes there on the screen. So 7156 for the 9 to 1 or 0520 for the lettered grades. All students have to sit all 4 papers. They're equally weighted, so 25% of marks on each of the papers. The one thing to note is that the speaking will happen prior to the usual exam window. It will happen at some point between the 1st of March and the end of April. The exact date will be decided by the exam centre. So I would consider, within plenty of time, perhaps reaching out, contacting the exam centre, obviously to get the date, but maybe you might be able to get a contact email for the teacher who will be conducting the exam, so they might have some extra information to share with you around the format of that day. The listening and reading will be done back to back, the 2 papers, and then the writing will be done on a separate day. Paper 1, 2, and 4 will happen all within the normal exam window. If you can go to the next slide, Danny, thank you. So free revision websites, Seneca Learning is quite good for the IGCSE. Quizlet is really good. I know Emily and I have spoken about that today, and she's comfortable using Quizlet, enjoys using Quizlet, so I think I'll be utilising that a lot in the run-up to the exams. And you can get all the past papers online. The textbooks, they are useful, but I think I would encourage Emily to go more to the past papers for the listening. I think that will be much more useful rather than purchasing the textbook. It's just to go directly to the past papers and use the reading and listenings available on there. Marie, did you have a question?
Yeah, you're mentioning things coming up on the screen. I'm not seeing anything. The only cameras I'm seeing is Kirsty, Nick, Kate, Elish. Those are the only cameras I can see.
Are you on your phone?
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
Right, yeah, so it will be a setting on your phone, so there's nothing we can do our end. There'll be like 3 buttons in the top right hand corner where you can either see participants or you can see presentation. It depends on what phone you've got, so again, it's hard for me to say exactly how to, but there'll be somewhere on your phone. There is only one more slide left after this, so I wouldn't panic too much, but I will send these slides out so you can have a quick flick through them, and it's recorded, so we'll send the record now if you wanted to rewatch it as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, Teacher Kirsty, was there anything else you wanted to add?
Nope, that's fine. I'm done.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. So here's the final slide that I was just talking about. You can see a breakdown of all subjects. Okay, a breakdown of how many I've gone blank, how many exams there will be, and sort of the names of the exams, and everything's there. Once again, you're more than welcome to take a screenshot of this right now if you wish, but it will be getting sent out to you. So that was a very, very quick sort of overload of information about the exams there. Okay, just to point out a couple of key things that I said at the beginning. One, we cannot book these for you. We can help you, we can tell you what you need to do, but you are responsible for booking these exams yourselves. There's nothing we can do. Two, if you have a child with SEN, please do reach out to Teacher Maria as soon as possible, okay, because then she can tell you what sort of things you need to be saying and what proof you'll need to provide. And three, if your child is struggling mentally, whether it's stress, anxiety, lack of focus, whatever it may be, okay, Teacher Kate, you want to reach out as soon as possible. Okay, both of these teachers I've just mentioned, okay, are fantastic at what they do, and they can really, really help you and your children. The sooner you get to them, though, the more they can do. There's not much point doing it a week before the exam. Now, is there any questions from anyone before we sort of wrap up and finish it? Like I said, I know it was an overload of information, and I'm sure your head's trying to take it all in. But if there is any questions now, sort of the time to say. No. As always, teachers are just at the end of an email address. Okay, so if you think of something afterwards, like, oh, I wish I asked that about science, Teacher Rosie's there to be emailed as and when you need her. It is half term, so the responses may be a little bit slower. Okay, but as soon as we come back, they'll be nice and quick as well. Okay, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you found that useful. You will get a copy of this first thing tomorrow. I'll send it out to everyone first thing tomorrow. But just again, if you do have any questions that you feel like you could have asked, do just send us an email and we'll answer them as quickly as possible. It may seem like far away, 2024, the May exams, they will come around quickly. So the sooner you can sort of help your children get organized, the better. But apart from that, have a fantastic weekend, have a fantastic half-term break, and we'll see you all, well, not all the parents, but all the students back on the 30th of October. Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Right, thank you very much for that, everyone. Like I said, it's one of those things where you just sort of just read a bit and you're done, but it's good that everyone stayed.